A father leaves a legacy of 45 million naira for his children, Peter, David, and Paul, to be shared in the ratio 7 to 5 to 3. Stop. What amount in millions naira will each receive? Now, how do you do this? You start by adding up the ratio, and that will give you 7 plus what? 5 plus 3, and that should be equals to 15. Now, the first one, which is Peter, is 7. That will be 7 over 15 times the money which is to be shared, all right, by the 3 of them. And that is 45 million. And that will be equals to 21 million. Okay? Now the next child, which is David, we own 5 over what? Over 15 times 45 million. And again, that will give us 15 million. And finally, the last person, which is Paul, we own 3 over what? Over 15 times 15 million. And that will give us 9 million naira. Which means the correct option there is option C. That is 21, 15, and 9 million. Question. The next questions, it has to do with limit. It says, as theta. So as theta tends to 0, what does cos theta tends to? Okay? As theta tends to 0, that is, we have to limit cos theta as theta tends to what? Tends to 0. Okay? Now, in solving this, substitute the value of theta, all right, by what it tends to, and that will be equal to what? Cos 0. And cos 0 is 1. Okay? Cos 0 will give us a 1. Which means as theta tends to 0, cos 0 will become 1. If you look at the next questions, if tan x is equals to sine x, all right, if tan x is equals to sine x, find tan 90 minus x. This question is from acute angle triangle, which is angle that has one of the sides less than 90 degrees. Okay? So if we use that trigonometric ratio, you remember that sine x is equals to cos 90 minus x. Cos x is equals to sine 90 minus x. Why cot x is equals to tan 90 minus x. So what the question is after is just to know if you understand the relation. All right. Now you are asked to find tan 90 minus x. So your tan 90 minus x from the ratio of an acute angle is the same thing as what? Cot x. And that is option C. Now, the next question, in a convex polygon with n sides, the sum of interior angle is... Now, the formula for calculating the sum of interior angle in a convex polygon is given as into 180 degrees. But if you look at something here, you can see that they decided to use that 180 in form of pi. All right, that is a radians. But don't forget that pi in radian is equal to what? 180 degree. Now if you substitute the 180 by pi, you have your n minus 2 into what? Into pi. Okay? And that is option A. Now the next question is, find the equation of the line perpendicular to the line y is equal to 2s plus 1. Alright? And passing through the point 3, 1. This is the gradient of 1.4. Okay? Now the first thing you do here is this. Don't forget your equation of a straight line. From your equation of a straight line, y is equal to what? mx plus c. Now by comparison, it is obvious that our ms will be equal to what? 2x. So s will cut s. Our m is equal to 2. Remember that m is the gradient, yc is what? The intercept. Okay? Now which means the gradient of the line y equals to 2x plus 1 is equal to 2. Now, but don't forget that this line is perpendicular to a line which passes through the point 3 and 1. That 3 and 1 is a 1 point form gradient, and our m is given as y minus y1 all over what? X minus s1. Now, if you look at what we're given, 3.1, now that 3 there is our s1, y the 1 is what? Our y1. Now, substituting that into this expression, m will be equals to y minus 1 all over what? S minus 3. Now, there are two lines now with two different gradients. Now, if two lines are perpendicular, all right, the condition for their perpendicularity is that the product of their gradient must be equal to minus 1. Which means if the first line is m1, which is equal to 2, and the second line is m2, which is equal to what? Minus 1, y minus 1 all over what? S minus 3, then m1, m2 must be equal to what? Minus 1, if the two lines are what? Perpendicular. In that case, we can say that what? Our m2 is equal to what? Minus 1 all over what? m1. Now, if that is the case, what is our m2? That is what? Y minus 1 all over s minus 3. That will be equal to what? Minus 1 over m1. What's our m1? 2, which means minus 1 over 2. Then we can now cross multiply. If we cross multiply, you have 2y minus 2. That will be equal to what? Minus s plus 3. Collecting the like terms or putting the variables together, you have 2y plus s. That will be equal to 3 plus 2, because the minus 2 will go to that side as a plus 2, which means 2y plus s will be equal to 5. Next question is, what is the distance between points 1, 2 and 4, 5? Alright? 1, 2 and 4, 5. Don't forget, the distance between any 2 points is given as d is equal to root y2 minus y1 all square plus s2 minus what? S1 all square. Now from the given 2 points, this is our s1, y1, s2, y2. Okay? So putting that into the expression, we have 5 minus 2 all square plus 4 minus 1 all square. And that becomes to what? Root 3 square plus what? 3 square. And that will be what? Root 9 plus 9. Which is what? Root 18. Alright? Now, if you look at that root 18, okay, at root 18 is the same thing as saying that what? Root 9 times 2. That is reducing it into the basic short form. And that will be equal to what? 3 root what? Root 2. So which means the distance between the 2 points will be equal to what? 3 root 2. And that is option A. The next question has to do with integration. And that says we are to integrate 2 tan 2s minus pi dx. Now, in order to integrate that, don't forget that we are given an expression for an integration of tan x. If you integrate tan x, that will give us, if you integrate tan x, that will give us absolute minus absolute ln cos x plus c. Okay, that is an expression for integrating tan x. But here we are to integrate tan 2x minus pi. So what do? You have to, when you are having, when you are integrating or differentiating trigonometry, and it has to do with another value other than theta, then you have to use both differentiation and integration method. But what you do in this case, since it is an objective exam, you don't need to bother yourself. Just differentiate whatever thing that is in that bracket, or what makes it different from theta or ordinary x. All right, whatever thing you get, take reciprocal of it. All right, and multiply it by that expression. Okay, and that will solve the whole thing. Now, if you look at the bracket, you have what? 2s minus what? Minus pi. If you differentiate 2s minus pi, you have what? You have a 2x, because for your pi is a constant. Okay, now you have 2. Now, in integrating the whole of this expression, don't forget that this 2 is a constant. And when you are integrating and you are multiplying a constant by an expression, you bring it outside. Okay, so it means the integral of 2 tan 2s minus pi will be equals to, the 2 will come back naturally, then times the reciprocal of the differentiation of what? The bracket, which is 2. That will be what? 1 over 2. Okay, then times minus, we can now put it into the expression now. That is what? Ln cos 2x minus pi plus k or c, whichever constant it tends to use. Now this 2 will call this 2. Okay, and this will be equals to minus absolute ln cos into bracket what? 2s minus pi plus k. Okay, that is what we will get. Okay, then again, if you look at the whole of this, C should be the options. What? The only thing that happened there is the arrangement of their what call it? Of their absolute. The ln there is natural logarithm. Okay? So since we are not given the base, let's assume that the logarithm given to us here is to base e. Ln is logarithm to base e. That is natural logarithm. So since they are silent about the ln here, that option C, alright, is in agreement with the. Now the next question is, find the values of x for which 5 plus 2x minus 3x squared is equals to 0. This is another quadratic equation. Now the coefficient of the x squared is minus 5, while the constant term still remains 5. Now the minus 3 times 5 will give us a minus 15. Now, what are the factors of minus 15? That when we add it together, we have plus 2. That will be minus 3 and plus 5. That is 5 plus 5x minus 3x minus 3x squared will be equals to 0. Here 5 is common. We have 1 plus 1 x. Then minus 3x is common. Then we have 1 plus x equals to 0. Then once again 5 minus 3x into 1 plus x will be equals to 0. Which means 5 minus 3x is equals to 0, or 1 plus x is equals to 0. So x is equals to minus 1 or 5 over 3. And that is option B. The next question says, a businessman invested a total of 200,000 naira in 2 companies, which paid dividends of 5% and 7% respectively. If he received a total of 11,600 naira as dividends, how much did he invested at 7%? Now, let the two companies be X and Y. Okay? If the man invested a total of 200,000, that is X plus Y is equals to what? 200,000 naira. That is the money invested in the two companies. Now, if he is to receive a dividend of 5% and 7% respectively, which means the dividend due on S is 5% of his investment there, and that will be equals to 5% of X plus 7% of Y, and that will be equals to what? The total dividend, which is 11,600. Now 5% of X will be 0.105X, then plus 0.07Y, which is the 7% of Y, will be equals to what? 11,600. That is equation what? Equation 2. Okay? Now, if we can multiply, since we are looking for the amount invested at 7%, okay? Which means we have to eliminate X, alright? The amount invested at 7% is Y. So, we are interested in getting the Y. So, let's eliminate our X. How do we eliminate our X? We can use the elimination method. Now, since the coefficient of X are not the same in the two equations, then we just multiply equation 1 truth by 0.5 in order to make them equal. So if we multiply equation 1 by 0.05, then that will give us 0.05x plus 0.05x plus 0.05y. That will be equals to 0.05 times 200,000. That will give us 10,000. Okay? And that becomes equation 3. Now if we subtract equation 3 from 2, then we have, this will go, now 0.07 minus 0.05 will give us 0.02y. That will be equals to 11,600 minus 10,000. That will give us 1,600. Now divide both sides by 0.02 will give us our y. That is, y will be equals to 1,600 all over what? 0.02. And that will be equivalent to 1,600. Add 2 0 to it so that 0.02 will become 1. Okay? So the 2 here will be 1. 2 in 16 will be 8. Then we have a 0, 0, 0, 0. That is 80,000 naira. That is, the man invested a sum of 80,000 naira at 7%.